How's it going, everyone? I hope you're doing well, and while you're probably seeing Dark Souls gameplay, this is going to be an Update 6.0 review for Anime Rangers X. I did have gameplay from when the update first released, but I feel like me doing the same stage for 10 minutes probably gets pretty boring to look at, so you can watch me do this no-hit run until I get hit, maybe, if that even makes it into the video. But of course, I'll still have some bits and pieces of screenshots or gameplay from the actual game when the time is necessary. So as per usual, I will give my thoughts on most of the content that was in this update, what I think was good, what I didn't like, and some of the issues I have, but let's get into it.
John in Tennessee, go ahead, what you want to say?
Man, do I love this update. Sunjin was my favorite character from any anime and manhwa, and the fact that literally nothing else happens in the show except for him aura farming is what I like most.
So this wouldn't be an ARX update review video without talking about the delay. This delay for this update was one of the worst we've had in a while, let's be completely honest. This update was supposed to release on a Saturday, in America at least. I believe this was supposed to be on August 30th, but it actually got released the next day on a Sunday. And when I say the communication between these timeframes was bad, it was bad. 3 p.m. on the Saturday, which the game was probably supposed to go into maintenance, there was just nothing. We had the Q&A podcast, just interesting, wasn't like too long, I don't believe. I tuned in a little late. It was nice to hear. And then from there were no announcements. So from the end of that podcast to the next morning, there were absolutely no announcements, and everybody was kind of just left in the dark. When the morning hit, though, we got a sneak, and the head dev saying maintenance is in an hour, the usual react for the update log, blah, blah, blah. What if we just don't react? What's gonna happen? The update log doesn't drop? What, the update doesn't drop? Oh no, the update's not gonna drop, surely. But while I'm kidding, surprisingly, an hour later, the game did go into maintenance, but then it took 4 hours. Took 4 hours for another announcement saying, almost done, 15 minutes remaining. This was not 15 minutes. This was more like 30, I think, a little longer. And again, this isn't like the biggest deal, oh, okay, the time's not exactly right, but this always happens. It's like a random time frame is just said to keep people waiting and waiting. And then most of the time, that time's not correct. So that's all I have to say. But the update's finally out. This game just keeps doing insane numbers. Checking right now, the game has 72,000 players. And it had like over 80k this morning, I think, and yesterday it was doing around 80k as well. It's gonna start surpassing Anime Vanguards, which is probably the #1 ATD game at the moment, which is insane to me. And from the fall update, the player count almost has doubled. I think the peak was maybe 50k. It might have been 60k, but it keeps going up by a large percentage each update, which is really cool to see. So, if you happen to be a new player watching this video, I hope you're enjoying the game. So moving on from that delay stuff. As I said earlier, this was the 6.0 update based off of solo leveling. And to quickly go over the new units real quick, we got Sunjin Woo, the Ant King, or Beru, Sunjin, Igris, which is an Evo, and then 3 Battle Pass units, which all of them are from Evangelion, which is really cool. We got Asuka, Rei, and Shinji. That's really cool. I haven't used them yet, but we'll go into that in a second. Going back over to Sunjin Woo, this guy, he's already got nerfed, and honestly, I see why. Before the nerf, he was basically better than Boros. I'm gonna just keep it real. He was doing well over 100 million damage with like an under 1 second ability cooldown timer, which that's insane. He's meta for Swarm event now. People are getting lower clears than ever, right? He's insane. And even after the nerf, he's still pumping out so much damage, and is still arguably better than Boros, to be completely honest. While Boros is still 100% worth getting, it is just kind of crazy to think that Sunjin Woo, with his double evolution and stuff, is already battling the #1 spot with Boros, which again has a pity of 25,000 capsules from the fall event. You could get really unlucky, go all the way to pity, have to grind all this time when the Sunjin Woo quest takes less than a couple hours. So it's a little crazy. But moving back over to the Sunjin Woo quest, it's nothing crazy. Like I said, doesn't take too long. It's nothing like the Eisen quest or like the Dio over Heaven quest. Pretty normal, a lot easier, but very worth doing. So get him if you haven't gotten him. Moving on, we got an Igris upgrade. If you don't know how to get Igris, he is from the standard banner, and he is going to be a secret. So if you still haven't gotten him, I wish you luck. His Evo is pretty mediocre. People are saying he's meta. People are saying he's not meta. At least that's what people are debating. I think at least from yesterday, as of recording this video, he's mediocre. He's definitely not better than Sunjin Woo. Not really sure if he's worth running. If you happen to get him and you for some reason don't have anybody else that's better than him, he can still be a decent option, I think. But one little issue I have is I think his base model, like before you evo him, actually looks really nice. But and I think his evo version, like where he turns purple, looks worse. That's my opinion. And it's kind of annoying that if you happen to have a shiny Igris, there is no shiny model for the evo version. So you kind of just go to this lower grade model. Again, in my opinion, you guys can let me know what you think, how he looks, but he looks all right. But I do think his model on evo looks really nice, and they kind of got butchered because you have to evo him, or you most likely want to evo him. So that's a little annoying. Moving on, we did get one other banner unit. Like I said earlier, I mentioned Cha-In. She's never going to be used. I doubt you're going to use her. She is a banner unit. There isn't many good banner units. Well, actually, that's false, but she has one passive, no evo, and I'll put the passive up on screen. You can read it. Nothing crazy. I haven't used her. I just pulled her on banner because I forgot to yesterday, and I don't have the game pass where it skips the summon animation, so I couldn't be bothered to sit there and keep getting everybody but her. So, well, I think it's cool the dev team added her in the game. Probably not being used by almost anyone. Now, moving on, we also got a King Ant or a Beru evolution. I can't speak on this unit because currently the quest requires 10 of like that hive material, which is a 1% drop. I'm not lucky enough. I wasn't lucky enough to get 10 of them. I only have 2 so far. I'm not gonna bother. I'm pretty sure he's pretty mid and not worth the grind. So yeah, I'm not grinding for him now. If you were lucky enough to get him, you can tell me how he performs. Again, I've seen a showcase, but like, are you using him? Probably not. So that is what it is. So at least from the batch of the solo leveling units, you're obviously gonna want to get Sunjin Woo, no doubt about it. But again, onto the battle pass itself, we did get a new battle pass. At first it was kind of buggy. It was still the old units like Escanor. I just said Escanor. I meant Esdeath. It was still that batch of units, and the Evangelion units were just added on to like tiers above 100. It was really weird. It got fixed, but unfortunately there were some bugs with people that bought the premium pass, and since they had to reset the battle pass to get everything back to working normally, some people lost that battle pass and they have to put a ticket in, and that's really annoying. Like, it's just a pain because especially with the player count increasing, there's probably more sales on the battle pass than ever, and you know, trying to put in a ticket, there's probably hundreds of requests, so your ticket might not even be gotten to for a while. That could be wrong, but you also need proof, and that might be hard to get. I'm not sure because I'm pretty sure you can easily see your transactions on Roblox, so that actually shouldn't be a problem. But either way, it is annoying that bug existed in the first place. I mean, that's insane, you know, buying something and it getting rolled back because the battle pass had to get reset. That makes sense. So I don't buy the battle passes in this game, so it didn't affect me, but I get it if it affected you, and I'm sorry to hear that. We did get new story and ranger stages, like I briefly mentioned with the Sunjin Woo quest. This is actually interesting because usually the story stages, you're just trying to get through them as quick as possible, but Igris's Evo item is actually on stage 10, so it gives you a reason to play it, and it's not just there to waste your time. So that's interesting. The map looks whatever. It's both the same for the story and ranger stages, but I guess I forgot to mention there's also a raid map, which looks pretty cool. Just the city from solo leveling or whatever. It's raining, I think. Nothing crazy. Raids are super easy now, because I remember back when the Steel Ball Run update released, and that raid was first added, it was really hard for a lot of people if you didn't use Gyutaro. So yeah, it's pretty much a pushover if your account's decent enough, like if it's more than decent, which is a lot of players. That's just something to mention. The drop for the Igris Evo item, I'm pretty sure it's a 0.75% chance, which not too bad, better than the 0.25s in the Dragon Ball Z update. Same thing with the Sunjin Woo evolution item, and for the Beru evolution items that you need 10 of for some reason, those are a 1%. I've only had 2, so since you need 10, it's going to take you a lot longer than probably the 0.75s that you need for Igris and Sunjin Woo. But moving on, we did get, I believe, more infinite modes. If you look in like the play mode where all the story and ranger stages are, there's an infinite section. You can do any map now, it looks like, which is cool. And in the update log, it does say that you get exclusive drops in soul fragments, and what I assume they mean by exclusive drops is that maybe if there's a certain currency, like now you get the fall currency or the leaves, but I am not getting any soul fragments. So maybe since these infinites are permanent, if there's a winter event or something and there's a winter currency, you can get that currency from infinite modes, which will be nice, especially for, again, mid-game players that maybe can't do the end game event in the future for that currency. But again, I did a 60 wave infinite mode earlier on the Sunjin Woo map, or the solo leveling map. I was expecting to get soul fragments. I didn't. Maybe I was doing something wrong. I don't think I was. So that is a little annoying. I don't know if soul fragments are meant to drop or not. But one thing about the infinite mode, though it does need some optimization, I think. It's not so bad in the early game, but if you're using like Sunjin and he's summoning everybody, if you're using the Domain of Love Soul or even the Undying Soul, you have so many summons on the map, you have a lot of enemies spawning, there's a bunch of health bars on the map, bunch of status effects popping up there and there, like it gets super laggy, and I wanted to just end my run at 60 because I wanted to see the rewards, and I didn't know if my game was going to crash because it was getting so laggy. So I think the optimization definitely needs some improvement. Moving on to the quality of life, one big one, this is like the really only big one I would say, is finally cursed fingers were added to the fall capsules. This is great, dude. I got like 600 overnight, so if you're grinding out the swarm event, you should be good on cursed fingers, because I know it is easy to run out of them, and it wasn't like the easiest to get them either. Like it's not hard, but now you get even more from capsules, which most people are opening right now, so that's great. Some other bugs with the fall event, the event missions are still bugged. I mean, this is like, oh my goodness. And don't even get me started with the Boros quest, because now that's just locked. Apparently you need a shiny Boros to even unlock the quest. I don't know why. I got the Boros quest done last update, but still, it's really stupid how that's locked. Really annoying. I thought these event missions were going to be fixed already, but I realized I completely forgot to mention, this update was supposed to have unit reworks. We're supposed to have a Gojo rework. We're supposed to have an Eto rework. I'm pretty sure Guts was supposed to get buffed, and this all got cut just because I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Again, that the delay probably had a big impact on the release of the update, so a lot of things were cut. And while I was going into this update thinking it was going to be bad, I really don't think it's that bad, at least compared to something like the Dragon Ball Z update. And while there's still a lot of bugs with the event missions and quests like that, the fact is that Sung Jin-woo is a strong unit. The quest isn't bad to do on him, and a lot of people are still grinding out the fall event for Boros or just more rewards. So if the fall event wasn't in the game at this moment and this update dropped, I think the reception would be a lot worse. I actually don't know what most people think about this update. Again, for me personally, I think it's pretty good. Well, again, I don't think the delay should have been that long. Units should have gotten their reworks and stuff like that. The update came out way better than I thought it would, like 100% better than I thought it would. One other bug I noticed, and I sometimes, like, before I make these videos, I look through the bug reports on the Discord server to just see what bugs people are experiencing. And I've noticed this one specifically is that some units are just dying out of nowhere. I don't know if this is 100% a bug, but like they could be miles away from an enemy and they just instantly die. I don't know what that is. Maybe the enemy is somehow hitting them still. I don't know. I noticed this in the infinite mode specifically. I think it's happening in the dungeon mode. I don't know. I think I've seen people complain about that. Not too sure. But that brings me on the topic. I'm pretty sure tournaments were also supposed to be reset and alongside dungeons, but they weren't, I believe. Again, that should definitely be reset as quick as possible because it was promised. But yeah, that's basically it. While I really was expecting this update to be one of the worst that was going to be released, I don't think it is. One of these factors could be because the swarm event is still in the game, and that's kind of like a fallback activity that most people can kind of do. Again, the player count keeps going up. There's more and more players every update, and the updates have been pretty decent. I know, like, when it comes to my reviews of these updates, I always try to find stuff to complain about. That's just how my videos are. I'm gonna try to find things that I don't like and just voice about things I think could be changed or should just be taken into consideration. So if I had to rate this update as a whole, I would probably give it a solid 7. Other than the huge delay and some other bugs that always happen, I still think they need to be fixed ASAP, but you can only wait and you can only hope. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, this update came out way better than I thought it would. So props to the devs. I hope they get the bugs situated. And even though Sung Jin-woo was nerfed, he's still crazy. I think the nerf was necessary. He was too good. He really was too good. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. That's where I'm gonna end it. Let me know what you guys think about this update, what you think could be improved, what you like, what you don't like. And yeah, thank you for all the support recently. Really makes me want to make more videos. So again, I appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.